Look out, boxing fans. It's your boy Ashy Knuckles. Let's talk about some boxing. There's a fight coming up this weekend, a fight I've been very interested in seeing. Erislandy Lara against Martirosyan. Where do I begin? Let's start with Lara. First of all, it's very rare that you see two very skilled fighters so young in their career facing off against each other before either one has actually campaign for a world title. It's unfortunate that these guys are in the circumstances that they're in. Both guys have been ducked by the upper echelon fighters at 154 pounds, and for good reason. Starting with Lara, first of all, both of these guys were very good amateurs, lights out amateurs. Vanez was an Olympian, so he has an Olympic pedigree. And Lara was one of the best Cuban amateurs in a very long time. Lara has a lot of range to his game. He has a lot of intangibles. Of course, everybody's mesmerized by the hand speed, southpaw style, and this punching capability. He also has very good timing. He can counter very well. He can fight inside and out. He can box and brawl. And he goes to the body very, 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 very well, which to me is still a lost art in the sport. Not everybody commits to the body like they should. The head can move every which way, but the body goes nowhere. More fighters need to commit to the body. Lara has fought Ronald Hearns. He's fought Freddie Hernandez. He's fought Carlos Molina. He fought a lot of guys. It's unfortunate that he's not being pushed. I don't know outside of Florida if there's another Cuban market that the promoters and the powers that be, the suits, can take full advantage of fiscally. But as far as being frozen out of the championship contention by the same promoters, it's really unfortunate. But like I said, he's a guy that's being ducked. And what he faces across the ring, what he will face across the ring from himself, is a guy who's also in that same situation. Martirosyan, U.S. Olympian, very, very good fighter, very good jab, and a mean ass right hand that he doesn't get a lot of credit for. But I've seen that right hand stand guys up. And Martirosyan can box very well. He's beaten the likes of Saul Roman. He's beaten Richard Gutierrez. Nothing really special about Gutierrez other than the fact that he's a strong fighter and he comes to fight. He also beat Joe Green, which was a prospect out of New York. Beat him down very well. He fought Kasim Uma, but I thought Kasim Uma won that fight, even though Martirosyan escaped with the victory. Martirosyan is also a guy that's been ducked. For years, he's been calling out fighters at 154 pounds. Most people, if you say that Martirosyan is being ducked, they'll say, well, Golden Boy offered for Martirosyan to fight Angulo, this, that, and the other, but Martirosyan was having management problems. And if you're a fighter, you know what it's like being robbed. Boxing is a dirty game, and if your management situation isn't right, you're not going to go into the fight with your head clear, knowing that you're probably going to fight for crumbs, but you'll get the acclaim if you win. But acclaim doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't feed children. I don't mind a guy not taking a fight if his management situation is not straight. But on the same token, you got guys like Canelo, who's been basically avoiding Martirosyan. Martirosyan has been among the top 5 at 154 pounds for a while. I remember years ago when Pacquiao fought Clottey, I was there. I covered that fight. And on the same token, Bob Arum had the Sergio Martinez Kelly Pavlik press conference that same weekend. I covered it, and at that press conference, Martirosyan was there. I interviewed him, and he was there. I don't remember if I got this on footage, but he was there to challenge Sergio Martinez if he was victorious in that fight. Well, he was victorious in that fight, but no Martirosyan fight took place. And basically, it's been one story after the next. It's not like this guy doesn't have a great promotional team. He's been with Top Rank. I don't know why Top Rank has been sitting on this guy. He has very good boxing skills. And the only thing that is gonna hinder, in my opinion, Martirosyan possibly in his fight this weekend is because he hasn't had the activity against the upper echelon in the division, which he should have. He should have had his title shot by now, as he is the silver champion, or was the silver champion, which is supposed to put you in line directly to fight for the title. And it's a shame that he has to fight a damn eliminator when he has the silver title just to face Canelo. And I heard just today that Suleiman is saying that the winner, Canelo has to fight the winner. Where the hell have you been? I mean, I can get on Canelo in a minute, and I'm sure it's not just Canelo. It may not even be Canelo. I'm sure it's the suits that's trying to market him, and they're basically babying him along when he's actually a legit fighter ready to fight the top guys. But the fact of the matter is, it looks bad on him because he's the so-called champion. I don't even know how he's champion when you fight a welterweight for a 154-pound title, and you don't even let your challenger make weight. You giving him a catch weight to fight for a title that ain't even yours. And he can't even make the weight. He has to come in at a weight that he's contractually obligated to make just so he can fight you. But that's another story. But in this fight, I expect it to be very competitive. I don't see Lara walking through him. I expect both guys to run into a lot of trouble. Martirosyan does have the skills that can make guys have to regroup, go back to the corner, consult with their team, and figure out a strategy to make themselves successful in the fight. I think that is what's going to happen in this fight. I do see them guys going through first round fill out. I do see Lara having success, but I also see Vanez getting his fight game going too. But one thing I have to point out that a lot of people doesn't talk about, maybe a lot of people haven't seen it, is that Erislandy Lara is on his way to becoming a complete fighter. And the reason why I say this is not just because of his tools, but I can highlight that as well. The fact that he can box well, he can brawl, he can fight on the inside, he goes to the body, he's a southpaw, he has good punching power, but he also can adapt. And I think that's one thing that Vanez does not have, because I've seen Vanez in situations where he encounters some trouble in fights and he becomes complacent, or better yet, content with the fact that he's up on the cards, and he'll stink the rest of the fight out just to cruise with a decision. Lara's not like that. Not like that at all. And what made me really put my eye on Lara, especially recently, not the fact that I've seen him spar and seen him train, and I'm pretty cool with Luis de Cubas Jr., it was the fight with Freddie Hernandez. Pressure fighter. You know what Freddie Hernandez, you know what he comes to do when he's in the ring. He's going to put pressure, 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 pressure. Not everybody knows how to deal with that pressure. Pressure bursts pipes. It is for real. A lot of Mexican fighters, I mean, that's their shit. You know, they come to the ring, it's about that machismo, not taking a step backwards, because in Mexico, if you run, you're a bitch, and that's just the way it is. So that's why you see a lot of Mexican fighters putting pressure on guys, ready to go toe-to-toe, mano y mano. But being able to deal with that, to me, is what signals that, you know, you're one of the top dogs. And in that fight with Freddie Hernandez, a lot of people say that it wasn't a good fight, this, that, and the third. But it wasn't the entertainment factor that I was actually paying attention to. It was what Lara did in the fight, to where he was able to continue to score points and escape out of the fight with minimal damage, all while Freddie Hernandez's face looking like it's been put through a meat grinder. You ever heard of Joel Casamayor? He's Cuban, isn't he? What is Lara? He's Cuban, isn't he? Lara's a student of the game, and there's very few of these guys in the game that is willing to learn how to do dirty tricks. And I love that dirty shit in the ring, as long as you're not getting caught and it's not flagrant enough where the referee can see it and you're losing points, and you use that as a way out of the fight. Bernard Hopkins was one of the best students of the game. Dirty as can be. Oh my God, he's dirtier than a bum. Bernard Hopkins has made a history off of fouling guys' headbutt, hitting on the hip, elbowing, because he knows how to do it on the referee's blind side. And the only person that's actually getting pissed off in the ring is the opponent. And when the opponent loses their head, all of a sudden, that game plan of actually boxing the dude kicks in. And you left your opponent thinking, all while getting hit. He loses his head, boom, knockout. You're the man. That's sweet science at its best. It's not cheating unless you're getting caught. And in that fight with Freddy Hernandez, Lara showed me he know how to use an opponent's aggression against him. Not just by timing him coming in, because he showed me that against Molina when he was timing his aggression with body shots. A lot of people didn't see those body shots, but he did them. But in the fight with Hernandez, it wasn't just timing him to the body. He was headbutting and being dirty than a motherfucker in that fight. And you don't see a lot of people talking about it because a lot of people just, their eyes are just not trained to see it. But I can see it because he has a long lineage of Cuban fighters that know that same shit. So I'm telling you, Lara really showed me something in that fight. It wasn't the most spectacular victory, but he froze Freddy Hernandez's aggression. And Freddy Hernandez escaped that fight wondering how the hell this guy wasn't getting points taken away. I think he may have got 1 point taken away. I don't remember off the top of my head, but he fouled him enough to be DQ'd. Go back and watch the fight and look closely when Freddy Hernandez was coming forward, putting a lot of pressure on him. What was Lara doing? Because in Cuba, you know how to disguise that headbutt. You'll duck that head down and you'll act like you're reaching out to clinch, but the whole time your head is right there in line with the guy's face. And the guy's coming on and coming in so hard, he can't do anything but run into your head. And your head is not padded. Hurts more than a punch. That's why guys get headbutted and they get cut instantly. You've seen nasty cuts. And if you've been around the history of the sport, you've seen some really nasty cuts based off of one headbutt. But the thing about it is, you got to do what you got to do to win. If a guy has a certain game plan going on in the ring, and what you're doing is not necessarily working, the things you worked on in the gym isn't necessarily showing up on fight night, you got to do what you got to do to win. It's called adapting. It's just in this particular instance, Lara was basically, just, hurting him, damaging him, doing what he got to do, getting in his head, breaking him psychologically, breaking him down physically. And it turned out to be a very dominating fight, and he escaped with very minimal damage, and Freddy Hernandez escaped with his face red and cuts and all that stuff like that. So in this fight with Lara, man, I can't call it. I can't put my finger on it. Either guy can win. I think Vanez Martirosyan has enough skills to compete, and I think his right hand is powerful enough to inflict some damage on any 154-pounder in the world. Mark my words on that. It's that he has a big punch. He has a really big punch. You just haven't seen enough of this guy. And he hasn't gotten enough attention. He hasn't gotten enough big fights where people can really take notice. But the guy has a mean right hand. Lara, excellent boxing skills. I already highlighted all the things that he can do in the ring. The big thing I see was going to happen in this fight is I don't think there will be a knockout. I think it will be competitive, and I think Lara will adapt. Not necessarily adapting by using his head, because Vanez is not a pressure fighter, so I don't foresee the same circumstances that Lara endured in that fight with Hernandez. I believe it was Hernandez. I don't never check boxing rec or anything like that, so I can be off as far as name dropping. I can be off, but he does know how to adapt. And one thing I've seen out of Vanez, you can break him. You can break him mentally, and you can't really blame him because his career has been sat on. This guy has not been pushed. He hasn't been getting the fights that he's been wanting, and he has been getting the experience from championship quality fighters. And I think it's going to show up on fight night. But he is a true fighter. He don't run from anybody, and he's not scared, and he can actually scrap. So the fight can go either way. But due to the fact that Lara probably is a little bit more, I'm not saying a little bit more defensive. He's way more defensive than Martirosyan. I think he's going to give him some problems in the fight. And I think instead of fighting with his heart out and trying his best to do everything he can to win, when he runs into trouble, I think Vanez will be reluctant to just stink the place out and stay at a distance and basically run if he got to the whole 12 rounds, or at least a good portion of it. And that's exactly what I see is going to happen in this fight. I got Lara by decision. And it's really a shame if Vanez loses this fight. Don't write him off. There's a big upside there. Trust me, the boy got skills. He's nice. He just needs and it's a shame after 30 fights, he just needs the seasoning with the upper echelon in the division. I think he can become world champion. I think if he's pushed, he will become world champion. But I think this weekend it just won't be his time. I think it's Lara's time to shine. I think he has a whole lot more intangibles, a lot more range in his game, and I think he knows how to adapt if he runs into trouble. And that's what I think. I think it's going to end up turning into a stinker, but with Lara's hand being raised, and then Canelo would have no choice but to face him or vacate. Will he face him or vacate? More than likely he'll vacate. But I got Lara by decision. I love to hear what your comments are, or if you feel the need, make a video. Let's hear it. It's your boy Ash. I'm gonna holler at you. Peace.